Have you ever wondered what might happen if you were the only one who could solve a big problem? What if everyone around you didn't believe you could do it? But you had the power to make a difference. That's exactly what happened to Tilly the turtle. She was small, slow, and often overlooked. In fact, many of the animals thought she was too quiet to be of much help. But one day, she found herself facing a huge challenge that only she could solve. It all started when the sun disappeared. One morning, the animals of the forest woke up and noticed something strange. The sky was dark. Too dark. The sun had vanished, and no one knew why. The birds couldn't sing, the flowers didn't bloom, and the animals were confused and scared. The animals gathered in the clearing, whispering and panicking. "I don't know what happened," said Benny the rabbit, hopping around nervously. "Maybe it's a storm," suggested Rosie the raccoon, nervously looking up at the dark sky. "Maybe the sun's gone forever," wailed Percy the peacock, flapping his colorful feathers. Everyone was worried, and they all started shouting at once. No one knew what to do. Then, Tilly the turtle, who had been quietly watching from the edge of the crowd, slowly stepped forward, her little legs moving carefully as she hummed a little tune to herself. "I think I know what happened," she said softly, her voice calm but steady. The crowd fell silent. "What, you?" said Benny the rabbit with a skeptical frown. "You're just a turtle. You're too slow. How could you know what happened to the sun?" Tilly's shell didn't shine like the sun, and she wasn't as fast as the others. Everyone had always underestimated her because of her size. But Tilly just smiled and said, "I might be slow, but I see things others don't. Let me explain." With a sense of curiosity, the animals gathered around as Tilly began to tell her story. "Long ago," Tilly said, "I was told that the sun sometimes needs a little help. Every now and then, it gets stuck on the other side of the mountains, trapped in a cave. The only way to free it is by finding the glowing key hidden deep in the forest." The animals gasped. "A glowing key? A key to the sun?" Rosie the raccoon asked, wide-eyed. "Yes," Tilly said with a knowing look. "The key is hidden in the heart of the forest, but it's not an easy journey. You have to face 3 challenges: the puzzle of the misty river, the riddle of the shifting shadows, and the test of the moonlit path. But the key is real, and I know where to find it." The animals exchanged glances. Benny the rabbit, being quick, twitched his ears nervously. "But how will we do it? We've never faced challenges like that before." Tilly paused for a moment. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, then opened them with a soft smile. "I may not be the fastest, but I have something that can help us: patience and determination. We don't need to rush. We just need to stay focused and believe that we can solve it." The animals looked at each other, unsure. Benny the rabbit, being quick, wanted to dash ahead. Rosie the raccoon wanted to climb the tallest trees to see over the forest. But they agreed to trust Tilly, even if it seemed like an impossible task. The group set off together, and soon they arrived at the misty river. Benny hopped from one rock to another, trying to get across quickly. "Come on, we don't have time for this," he said, flicking his tail impatiently. But Tilly held out her leg and gently stopped him. "We can't rush through this, Benny. We need to be calm and think. The key to crossing this river is patience." The river was tricky. With mist swirling all around them, the air was cool and the mist felt like soft cotton on their faces. Benny kept trying to jump ahead, but Tilly slowly led the way, guiding them through the fog. "I see a safe path," she said with a twinkle in her eye, her slow and steady movements showing the others that sometimes taking your time was the best way to move forward. With every step, Benny began to realize that rushing made things harder. Okay, he said, a little embarrassed. "I'll take it slow." Next, they reached the riddle of the shifting shadows. The shadows in the forest seemed to move and change shape, making it hard to see where they were going. The trees creaked and groaned as the wind passed, and the animals started to get nervous. "Which way should we go?" Rosie asked, her tail twitching in fear. "Stay calm, focus on the path, and don't let the shadows confuse you," Tilly said, her voice steady. The other animals looked at her, still unsure, but they followed her anyway. The shadows seemed to take on strange shapes, One looked like a big bear, another like a giant bird. Rosie gasped. Are we going in circles? No, Tilly said, smiling. The shadows only shift when we don't stay focused. Follow my steps and we'll make it through. And so they did. Slowly, steadily, they made it through the shifting shadows without getting lost. Benny grinned. Okay, I get it now. It's not about rushing, it's about staying calm. Finally, they reached the moonlit path. The path was narrow, lined with stones that glowed under the moon. The air was cool and still, and the only sound was the gentle rustling of the leaves. Benny, still eager to prove he could lead, tried to jump ahead. I'll take the lead this time, but Tilly moved at her usual pace, her eyes fixed on the glowing stones. Sometimes the hardest path is the one that requires the most patience. We just need to keep going, step by step. The path twisted and turned, and soon the animals started to feel tired. Are we almost there? Asked Percy the peacock, his feathers drooping. Keep going, Tilly encouraged. We're almost there. After what seemed like hours, Tilly reached the end of the path. She gently picked up the glowing key, her smile quiet but full of joy. We did it, she said softly. The animals cheered as the sun slowly began to rise in the sky, shining brighter and brighter. The forest was filled with light, and the animals were filled with gratitude. Tilly had unlocked the key to the sun, and it was back where it belonged. The animals danced and laughed, and Benny the rabbit hopped around in circles. I never thought I'd say this, but slow and steady really does win the race. Tilly smiled. It's not about being the fastest or the strongest. It's about believing in yourself, staying calm, and taking it step by step. When we believe in ourselves, we can face anything. Tilly had shown them all that it wasn't about how fast you were or how strong you were. What mattered most was your attitude, your belief in yourself, and your ability to stay calm, focused, and patient, even when things seemed impossible. Do you think Tilly was the right one to solve the mystery of the sun? What happens when we slow down and focus on the challenges we face, rather than rushing through them? If you love Tilly's story, like and subscribe for more magical adventures. And remember, like the turtle who believed in herself, your attitude is the key to unlocking your true potential. Keep believing in yourself, and the sky's the limit.